Can you really use any old free plugin to make professional music? I invited Florian from channel Beats Basteln and we're putting it to the test. We chose 3 free plugins that get progressively more obscure and challenging to use. Let's compare how we each managed to use them in our productions. I chose the P-Dux Pop Kit in Monster Drums, he chose the Colliding Comb Synth, and the third one is Quilcom Mystery.
Hey, I'm Florian Mrugalla from Beats Basteln and here's my track.
I am just a voice and I make a lot of noise. Listen up and let me show you what I mean. Can you hear the sound, the vibrations in the air? From the sky to the floor, you can feel it everywhere. Let me turn it up a little bit more. It's okay, I'll be there for you. They can't even read their own minds. I am just a voice and I'm chilling with the boys. Let's go, let me show you what I'm gonna do. Energetic vibe, so I'm getting kinda hype. When the world gets destroyed, I'll clean up after you all. Let me turn it up a little bit more. It's okay, I'll be there for you. They can't even know their own minds.
The challenge was to make a good track or beat with these 3 plugins: Monster Drums, Colliding Comb Synth and Quilcom Mystery. The problem is both Colliding Comb Synth and Quilcom Mystery are pretty heavy on sound design. Sounds that you can barely even foresee even if you already finished making the patch. While Monster Drums is like one of the most normie plugins that you can think of. It is basically just a drum sampler with lots of kits. So one question that I asked myself in this challenge is how can I combine these 2 different aesthetics that are colliding here? And the second question is how can I even make anything melodic here? I want to answer the first question first. You can really hear how long all of these sounds decay. They try to be a real drum set. That doesn't fit into an electronic production that tries to be sweet and tight and stuff like that. So I put a multiband expander on the kick and also saturated it hard. And I put a multiband expander on the snare and also saturated it hard. And on the hi-hats and the ride, I just have some weird effects and stuff. And voila, we have drums that we can actually use in such a context. Then I wanted to find out if I can make anything melodic in Colliding Comb Synth. This was the most melodic that I could get. I don't know what this synthesizer does, but that's also what makes it so cool, I think. You can just twist all of these knobs and you will never find a sound that is even remotely normal, but you can use them actually in a song, as you can see. Now when it comes to Mystery, however, you can indeed use it in a melodic way, just as I did on the bass line and on the bells in the main parts. You have to actually study the synthesizer in order to find out how that works though. It seems to be more geared towards sounds like this. You see, all of these knobs constantly change their values, and that's because the update parameter is enabled. That's kind of the whole thing with this plugin. It is an additive synthesizer that is capable of constantly changing all of its parameters like crazy. And that's why it is just unpredictable what it does when the update feature is enabled. For my part, I can just conclude I'm pretty happy with it. It is not how I would usually make tracks. I would just use a lot of melodic synthesizers for creating melodies. But the fact that this was not encouraged here also challenged me to find new ways, and that way I found sounds that I wouldn't have found otherwise. So this is a valuable challenge that I can recommend to everyone.
So the Colliding Comb Synth normally sounds like this. And my goal was to get something that was at least semi-tonal out of it. And honestly, I kind of surprised myself. I got these 4 patches. all of them together with some added effects sound like this. Now back to that way the synth usually sounds. I used the tail of the sample I recorded to make a bass. I put the sample into the native Studio One sampler, and this is what it sounds like. Next, I had a look at the drums. I considered playing around with this ADSR control and the tuning to get this very long tail somewhat under control. Like you could do something like this. But I ended up going into a very different direction, really leaning into that sound, adding some width and reverb. And this is the drum groove that is most important to the track. Very basic. Now for the third free plugin that we used, Quilcom Mystery, I kind of ran out of energy to do a lot of fiddling with the controls, and it is quite difficult to learn how to use this one, so I stuck to mainly editing presets. For example, the Mystery piano. Dry, it sounds like this. With some effects. I also used Bell Mystery. So the chord progression throughout most of the song is 6 minor, 4 major, 2 minor, 1 major. Or in this specific key, G minor, E flat major, C minor, B flat major. And then in one place I'm doing a modulation. I'm going from the C minor again to the E flat major, and then surprisingly to the D flat major. We used to be in B flat major, and now in B flat minor. The new key is the relative minor, so we kind of modulated from B major to B minor. I also used many instances of the free BBC Symphony Orchestra. Two instances of Surge. Then there's a section with this little ARP from the TAL NoiseMaker. And to finish it off, I added some vocals that are heavily processed, mainly with the Isotope vocal synth and a synth solo played on the Podolski free synth by Yuhi. Side note, the only reverb I used in the whole track is Giant Verb, a great free reverb plugin, especially for this kind of music. Now let's hear the finished track. 2 producers, 3 free plugins. Yes, it's a play on Andrew Huang's format. If you want to see more like it, subscribe. Also check out Beats Basteln. Leave a comment on who might want to be part of a next similar video like this. Maybe you?